Hey. Hey, beautiful. Hi. Trying to eat my toes. How are you? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Just had an interaction with a horse, and it was very natural in regards to her reacting to me. She paid homage to my energy, which I respected, but she also made sure I was aware of the fact of her circumstance as well. Energetically, I can tell that she feels just like me, and I'll explain further. I appreciate y'all for watching. So, I have some videos in the beginning that incorporates the same energy that I'm gonna break down further. And as I'm saying that, I see butterflies, and I just think that's a good sign. But right now, I'm just trying to get balance within these energies so that I could be able to really depict organically how I feel. I don't think it's a coincidence that my camera's running out of batteries. And I feel like that's because it's not the proper time. But it will come. For now, let's say bye. I'm going to go ahead and connect back with nature and get back with you guys. Life can be so irritating when you can't control everything that comes with it, but you still try to be your best self, and you have to acknowledge the fact that everything that comes with it will alter what you're trying to do. Meaning that whatever you like, I can say that for myself in regards to whatever I want to speak or whatever I want to say or how I want to do it. I feel like every time I go into life and try to project that, it's always altered, and having to get adjusted to that is something that I'm still developing and learning. One thing that I'm not going to let these obstacles do is stop me from my message. So I feel like I'm in a more grounded place, and I'm in a place where I understand how I feel, and I'm going to try my best to depict this to you guys. Before I get into this topic, I want to just thank everyone for taking the time and listening to me and actually trying to be open-minded to what it is that I'm trying to say, because I feel like everyone can relate and grow and learn from this. Regardless of if it's lingering on an aspect that you could resonate with or not, it's going to be on some real shit. So let's get started. The topic I want to talk about is how can pleasing be harmful? Pleasing overall would be attributed to something that's positive. When you pleasing someone, you're making that person feel good, or you're doing something that makes you feel good overall. But for the most part, the aspect that I want to touch on is pleasing others. With me in this direction that I'm willing to take, I feel like it comes with a lot of things that a lot of people don't mention in regards to how you should act, and those details within that action, and how you should want to be received from other people, which is something that both ways are little controlling. Both ways have little control, like meaning that you have to just kind of go with it and flow with it and allow it to just formulate into something that is just a bigger picture beyond something that you can even fathom. When people say, oh, you want to be a writer, who are you writing for? When you're writing and this is something that you're doing as a job, this is something that you want to be embraced by. You want people to acknowledge what it is that you're doing, acknowledge this craft in the way that you would see it, but you don't have control over if that person would even read what you're saying, and that's something you can never control. How do you allow yourself to be in a place where people can recognize you for what you're trying to attribute to this world? You have to put yourself in a place where you, or what I've seen for the most part from just experiences from other people that are writers, or other people that are in a field of trying to build a business off of other people's perception, meaning like entertainers or any form of an entertainer or performer. You're building your legacy off of how other people perceive you, and you can't control how other people perceive you. So you have to alter that in a place where these people are feeling like they could relate to you and you're doing service to them. That's one of the biggest things. It's not about what you're given, it's about how could you service another person, and that's one of the things I'm learning. So taking that into account, that's a form of pleasing, right? How can that be harmful? It could be harmful when you're losing yourself in the aspect of trying to relate to other people. And that's one of the things that I'm learning to balance, because within me, it's hard for me to be ingenuine within myself. Like, I can understand and I can be very receptive to what it is that can be alluring to people, but one thing about me is that my message is going to be my message regardless, and being able to alter that, the only thing I can do is try to clarify my message. I can't change the way it's coming across. I can't change the way my accent is. I can't change the way, you know, I've been built to have a certain type of perception. Only thing I can do is enhance. Like, I can learn more. I can be in experiences that's going to allow me to adjust and gain more, but it's not going to change where I came from or what it is that I'm building. So people that are here to notice the growth, regardless of why I'm doing it, because sometimes, you know, people start off doing it for other people. Me, I'm different because I'm doing it for myself first, and I would hope that people could connect to that aspect, because when I'm putting it on camera, it's for the concept of being able to show to other people that may be in the same resonance, or someone that could just be able to acknowledge and respect this. So people pleasing or pleasing other people can become harmful, not just with being a human, not just with being of service to someone, but just in your nature. Like, if you saw the clip earlier in the beginning, that was just so significant to me, and I've been replaying that moment. You know, that was like 2 days ago. I've been replaying that moment because that horse was beyond a human, obviously, and, you know, because of that, a lot of people contribute the fact that they don't have the same consciousness, or because they don't live the same type of lifestyle, whatever, that they don't know just basic aspects of what it is to please. And when I look at that horse was in a horseback riding facility. So in my head, I attribute it to, like, the majority of his life is pleasing these people that want to come and ride a horse, right? But when you look at this horse for itself, it was just so significant because, like, her leg was her left, it was actually on her right side, but it was on the left side to me, but it was her right hind leg. It was in a position where it looked like it was kind of sensitive, or in a, I don't want to say harmed place, but the way that she was standing just stood out to me because I can relate to that. She's beautiful. Like, me looking at her with her imperfections, or even with her being surrounded with shit, or even with just seeing the sorrow in her eyes, I saw her power. I saw her power, and I appreciate her power. A lot of people that you're pleasing, they don't see that, and I can relate to that because with me, I'm coming up off of some raw shit on the real. Like, I'm not coming up with the aspect of having a network or someone that can help me look a certain way that would alert to people. So I have to come in a way where I'm organically being myself and just expressing that to people that can be receptive to that. And with this horse, she didn't have that choice. You know, she was like that by nature. And I could relate to that because I feel like I don't have a choice. With this life that I'm being able to live, I feel like it took a lot of courage, but indirectly, that's what felt right to me. So in the directions that I took to try to fit and mold this into something where I can make it a business or make it a brand, I've, you know, harmed myself in so many ways where people can still see my power, but I've been modified to a place where either being like losing a little bit of my energy or just losing a little bit of my power because of my own mentality of wanting to be what I feel like other people will want to see. So looking for validation or acceptance from other people is a big void that I feel like a lot of people fall into, because in those moments you're more connected to how you're being perceived rather than what it is that you're trying to be perceived for. And with this message, it's just so hard because, like, I want to get it out in a way where it can be clear, but I can't change the fact that the planes are flying, or when I'm in a certain area and I don't feel emotionally open, like I don't feel like I want to speak, or I can't change, or I feel completely comfortable in this place, and then someone decides to, you know, start fixing on their house. And this is just stuff that just happened to me today. Like, I'm probably not gonna put that video in there because that was for me to see, but I felt like I was in a good place and people around me are altering me, and I still have to adjust to that. And it sucks because, you know, that validation and that self-acceptance is everything in my business, you know, what it is that I'm trying to build. And that inner desire for support, hoping that when you make these advancements or make these investments into this, that it would be supported. But even that you can't control. You just feel like you just feel like, you know, you want to give up. When I saw that horse and just seeing how her behaviors was towards me, like she was a little bit receptive to even becoming close to me, even though I feel like everyone except for the human race, like all other animals innately, you know, want to be curious and innately want to be caring. But, you know, life happens and life adjusts the way you react to things. And I feel like I was a symbolic factor within that horse's life to show that everyone that looks like me is not trying to misuse or use or abuse you. And that's something that I could connect to as well, because in sometimes when someone is not being receptive, you want to feel like everyone is feeling that way. Especially when you're in a place where you want to please that person and you want to make that person feel special, and then you're being abused or misused within that action, it makes you not want to even give that energy to that person anymore. And that's something that I'm dealing with and balancing as well. You can't ask for support. I mean, you can ask for support, but you can't feel like you're obligated to receive that from anybody. So that's just something that you have to balance when you're pleasing someone. You have to recognize what it is, why you're doing it, beyond on how you're doing it, but why you're doing it. And misusing that energy could really put you in a place where you're losing your power, because if you're misusing that energy in a way where you're willing to redefine what it is that you're giving or how you're giving that, you can't be mad if, you know, people don't receive that and you still misusing your own power within that way. Like you're losing what you stand for with intentions of wanting to attract, but then you still don't attract what it is that you desire. And I could use this horse as another example, because if this horse was a horse, and this is hypothetically thinking, because, you know, when I was watching this horse, I was just really analyzing her energy. If this horse was a horse that went and was devoted to her job and went, and every time she went on the field, she was devoted to making sure that that person had a great experience, that doesn't change the fact that when she's in her cage, she's surrounded by shit, or when she's in that cage, she's being in a place where she has very little hay, regardless of if there was at a big point, she's in a place where she's still scrambling and trying to make the best out of a situation that is really not the best environment. And so does that mean that she should adjust the way that she's reacting to it, or does that mean that that's just something that she has to accept? With me, I've been balancing that, because I feel like I don't want to have to accept giving little and giving my energy out in a way that I want to receive it back and not getting that in return. People say that, you know, in life you're gonna get back what you give, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be at the same time or on the same levels. And that's one thing that I'm learning about. When you're pleasing, you have to make sure that you're doing that for your inner health first. And you have to make sure that you're balanced on the inner, so that when you're giving that out, you can receive that back, regardless of when it is. Sometimes it may not even be in your lifetime, but it may be for your seed or whatever you're building your seed, like physically, like a baby, or it can be like your seed of what your brand is. Meaning, like, if I'm saying things right now and only get 3 views right now in my lifetime, that doesn't mean it's insignificant, and that doesn't mean that I'm not pleasing or helping other people, because I still can be of service, but I have to make sure that I'm doing it in a way where I'm still the core person that's being fulfilled. The reason why that's so significant is because when you're misusing your energy or trying to alter yourself in a way where you're pleasing people first, it could be very harmful for you, because it could put you in environments that's not really aligned with your path. But it could be aligned with what it is that you feel like would be best for you, but you know deep down inside that is not for you. And I can relate to that just in a lot of things that I've been experiencing over my past years in regards to, like, the Love Tour. A lot of people don't know that I'm a self-published author, and my novel is called Love Plethora. If you go to jazzyfills with a Z.com, you'll be able to see, like, a lot of the things that I created, whether it's musically or just you can see my self-published novel and a lot of other videos on different topics. But the reason that I brought that up is because what I decided to do is push my boundaries out and explore other people and other cities and other states, and push my book out. I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go, but I tried to be in line with people that I feel like would want to read this novel, and that also put me in environments that I felt like was unaligned with me. It put me in predicaments that I knew was unaligned with me, and I was settling for less because I was trying to please other people and be of service to other people through my craft, rather than allowing my craft to do the work for itself. And that whole aspect of me pushing through, I don't regret it at all, but I can't say that that was just a form of me wanting to please. And deep down inside, with me being on this love tour, it didn't help me, it didn't assist me, because when I think about it, my inner was not balanced and it was not fulfilled. But I felt like me doing it for other people would have given me fulfillment, and it didn't. And that was another sad truth. I was smoking heavily. Every time I would go to these environments where I feel like, people would support me in these environments. Some people did. Like when I went to Atlanta or when I went to Philadelphia, some people did support me, even if it was just acknowledging what it is that I had to push. But within that form of trying to please other people, I lost a lot of my balance and my grounding and what it is that I felt like I stood for, because I was performing and I was vending, and I never felt like I got that fulfillment inside. And that's because of the fact that I was looking for it from an outer source. And you can't depend on that outer source to fulfill you, even when you're trying to fulfill them and please them. And that's something that, if nothing else, I want you to really just grasp and know that that's something that they don't owe you. When you're pleasing people, you have to understand why you're doing it, and you have to make that source of why you're pleasing other people is because of something from the internally. Like if you want to be someone to help humanity, you're not doing this and being of service to people just for the sake of saying that you did it. You're doing it because indirectly this is something internally that's guiding you to do that. And that's how you know when you're in line. Not just because you think it will feel right, but if it don't feel right, you're still going to go with it because you want to be open-minded to it. I personally don't agree with that, because I've been in a place where I've been trying to fit into situations that weren't aligned with me, just for the simple fact of being open-minded. And now I'm in a place where being open-minded is not just doing what I don't really feel comfortable with. Being open-minded is acknowledging what it is that I know feels best for me and playing that role. And regardless of how other people are moving around me, I'm staying essential to what it is I believe in, and knowing what it is that I feel like I'm worth and what I'm valued, and using my craft to help elevate me. And the purpose of it is to be of service to other people, and me just expressing that is enough. I don't have to moderate my actions or moderate what it is that I feel like I stand for, what I believe, just to make sure that these people are comfortable, because that shows and that is ingenuine indirectly. So to tie this all together, I just want to say, if you're out there, there's a lot of people on my tribe that are trying to find themselves. And one of the biggest things that I discovered within this journey is that finding yourself is just really understanding what's in you. It's not about anything that you can do or say to anybody else. And pleasing someone can be harmful when you're imbalanced within yourself and you're trying to find that form of stability from the outer source. And one of the things that I also recognize, and I'm going to add this clip to the end, because when I was able to just acknowledge that horse for what it was, she recognized my energy as well. And when she recognized my energy, just because I was giving her a, I love you, so beautiful type of a vibe, that doesn't mean that she deserved to give me that same in return. Like what she actually did when I paid attention to it, I had my foot up on one of the stalls, and she came and she pushed her head there, and I thought she was gonna bite my foot, but she was telling me respect what it is that I have, regardless of if it's shit everywhere. If I have like a limited amount of what it is that I know I want, still respect me for what I am. Even if I'm hopping on one leg, I'm powerful. And it was sometimes when I noticed like she was trying to put pressure on her foot to prove that she still had that power. And to me, she still did have that power, because sometimes you can't control how life is gonna alter you, but you have to control what you stand for. And regardless of what it looks like to the outer source, I had to respect what she stood for. That box that she was in, that cage that she was in, I can relate to that, because I'm in a place where I'm not the most comfortable, but what I stand for is what I stand for, and my power is within me. And her being able to be affirmed with that, but be very subtle and respect what the energy I was coming with, that let me know that it's beyond just what you could do for other people or other humans. It's about what you could do for this whole world. Pleasing could be harmful when you're pleasing the wrong entities, meaning like you could be pleasing humans when you could be trying to please the earth, and balancing that out. You have to find what fits for you and stick to that. When I would try and go and perform, and we're going to tie it up with this last story, I would try and go perform, and I know that performing can be something for me, but it's just not in a place yet, because I still need to be recognized for what it is that I'm standing for. I feel like I'm in a cage where what I'm receiving is shit. Not saying that shit is good. To be able to shit and release, that's a good thing, because that's all I'm being able to do. But when I was on the stage and I was performing and I wasn't being received properly, how that altered me. It made me question what it is that I stood for, when I had to really see it as I'm who I am, and what's around me has nothing to do with me. It's just a display of the world. But what I stand for is still going to be significant regardless. And as long as I keep my morals, just like what that horse did, came over to me and recognized and respected that I was there, but also helped me acknowledge the fact that I need to respect her place and not put my foot up any kind of way. Like, to me, that showed me that when I'm performing, I still need to stand for what I stand for. And my purpose of entertaining and being of service to people is not just to please. It's harmful when you're pleasing someone else, because you have to make sure that you're the one that's fulfilled. I would get off stage and feel like I didn't want to perform. I felt like I didn't get anything to offer, and I give so much of my energy within it. But that's not going to stop me from feeling like what my craft is not something that could influence, because I know that I still have the influence power, because me is never going to be another me. Even if it's others that look like me, no one is ever going to depict my story like me, and my story is significant. So with pleasing, make sure that you never lose sight of what it is that you are. And yeah, till next time.